Hey guys, Rich from Rich Big Gaming. I hope everyone is doing fantastically well. I have a little story to tell, and it all starts when the announcement came out a year or so ago that Old World was returning. If any of you have ever watched the first ever video I ever made on the channel, you will have seen that Warhammer Fantasy was my first ever gaming system that I played. I played Dark Elves and I absolutely loved them. I played it throughout all of school and then fell off somewhat. And it's fair to say that I have had lots of excitement and then lots of trepidation and then lots of excitement again and then disappointment and then double disappointment with the whole Old World thing, to the point where I just decided, do you know what, I don't even think I'm going to bother, to the point, and didn't pre-order anything, didn't do anything with the game. And then you start to see little things popping up, and we get a few more battle reports coming out from some of the good guys out there that do the battle reports, and I kind of got the buzz. And I got the buzz to play myself some Dark Elves. So what I did was I headed on over to Murfield Miniatures, because obviously everywhere was out of stock, and I managed to pick myself up a whole box of Dark Elves, and there are some absolute beauties in here. Now, these are just witches and crossbowmen. They're in varying states of disarray. Most of the witches are clean, but they are the old school, old style witches. And even, guys, we even got one of the original Reaper bolt throwers. Now, these things all need a clean up. They're going to need some love and care. They're going to need rebasing and everything else. But that was my plan. I was buying Dark Elves. So Leodis Games today when I'm recording this video, but Saturday the 20th or whatever it was. It may even come out today. Who knows? Maybe it's something for you to all watch whilst you are building your Old World boxes. I popped on over. They had an open tabletop day, so it's like a car boot sale, but inside, and it's warmer. And it's just people selling, games, not just Games Workshop, a whole bunch of different stuff, gaming systems and whatever else. So I picked myself up some of the new, which Aelavaza. Yeah, that's what happens when you want to try and copyright everything, isn't it? So I picked up some of the new models, because what I'd also managed to get my hands on were some of the newer Cold One Knights. I'd also got some Dark Shards. I'd also got a couple of other bits and bats as well that are going to be turning up over the next week or two from various places. Some of them new, brand new in box. Some of them second hand. Some of them still on sprue. Some of them painted up fully. So I'm going to have a whole project around not only rebasing, because obviously they all need rebasing, but obviously I'll be repainting them as well. I want to paint them in my own style. So we were in Games Workshop. Oh, sorry, I was in Leodis Games, and went around, couldn't find anything else that I wanted, and then we popped over to Halifax. And I did ask Neil when I was there. I sort of said, "Ooh, do you have any of the boxes left?" He went, "Nope. All sold out. Everywhere is sold out. You can't get them anywhere." And that is true. Everywhere I looked, I couldn't get them. So we went into Halifax. Me and my partner and my daughter went into Halifax, and I said, "I'm just going to bob to there's two places in Halifax where you can buy Games Workshop stuff. There's like a bigger hobby store that really focuses more on sort of models. So it's more of a model shop. And then there's a little shop called Game Save. They do a lot of second-hand computer games, PC, PlayStation, Xbox, that sort of thing. Plus they've got some Warhammer and things on the shelves as well. So the only two places to go. So I walked in and I was looking, couldn't find anything that was dark. I was just looking for anything at this time that was dark elfish, that I could turn into Dark Elves, that sort of thing. And again, I just thought I'd ask him the question. I said, "Oh, you don't have any of the rule books, do you, for the new Old World?" And he said, "No, the only things we've got left are what are on the shelves." And what was on the shelves, if you guys have seen my post from, again, earlier today on the 20th, was not just the Bretonnia ones, there was also the Tomb Kings as well, core box. So, yeah, let's go and open it and have a look and see what we think. Okay guys, so here we go. This is everything that I picked up from one of my local gaming stores. I was really surprised to find anything. I was actually on the hunt this morning in my little town of Halifax for some Dark Elves, as I mentioned previously. And they had none, nowhere had any in stock. And then I just saw this on the shelf. I originally asked if they just had the Old Worlds rulebook. They had none left. He just said, we've just got what's on the shelf. So I turned around, looked at the shelf, and lo and behold, there was the Kingdom of Bretonnia, Fantasy Battles in the World of Legend, so Warhammer Old Worlds to the starter box. I thought, well, if I'm buying that, I may as well get the Arcane Journal. I know there's still another book I need to get as well. And then I thought, well, they've got one of these, so let's get some movement trays as well, just so I've got some. We're not going to bother opening these up because they are just pieces of grey plastic. So why did I get this? I have no intent, at least I have no intent right now to play Bretonnia. They were the faction that I was looking forward to. But I was looking forward to it because I thought that maybe not a lot of people would play them. But obviously then they were released as one of the two main focus factions in this first wave of new boxes. So let's use the word new there very lightly. And I went off them. So I decided I was going to collect my Dark Elves. I went over to Murfield Miniatures the other day and picked up some OG witch elves, so some of the metal witch elves. I got some crossbowmen as well. I've got some other bits on the way. So why did I buy this? What did I buy it for? Well, I bought it for a number of different things. First of all, I wanted the rule book. And actually the guy did me a really good deal on it, so I want the rule book. I also needed, guys, a whole bunch of bases, because obviously the bases have changed in size. So I've got a whole bunch of guys I need to rebase. So actually, when you add up the cost of the base, you get the, some little dice in there as well, the templates for the sort of area effects and the flame attacks and things like that, plus the models and everything else, and the bases. Actually, it didn't turn out to be a bad deal at all. I think I paid $125 for this, all in all. So yeah, and obviously I get the 76 miniatures with it as well. I do get the rule book. We don't get the way they've done it now is there is the rule book. There is then the two faction books, shall we say? So good and evil. And then obviously you've got a book for each, what they call them, the arcane journals for each of the armies as well. But the Dark Elves that I'm playing will not have an arcane journal. They're going to have some free PDFs that you can download and you can use. Now, what's the other reason why I ended up getting this box? Well, my concern is that as this game gets further and further, if they do indeed choose to not support the Dark Elves, I think they will very, very quickly, and when I say very, very quickly, I mean in the next sort of 12 to 24 months, get left behind. We know that there is always power creep in Games Workshop. It's one of their, I do believe it's one of their business tactics. They make the new shiny things, latest and greatest, to be the latest and indeed greatest. To kind of, not force people, but kind of keep changing where the meta is and everything else. And my concern is that with just a set of free rules, no new characters, no new models being revealed, that could get left behind very, very quickly with the Dark Elves. And I do like the idea of having one good and one evil faction. Yes, I mean, you could argue that actually it's two evil factions, but there we go. So what have we got in this box? And you can see there we've got the Duke on the Royal Pegasus. We've got some men-at-arms, Pegasus Knight, and then Knights of the Realm. We get the rule book, and then we get the all of the other little bits in there as well. And it is a heavy, big box. I think one of the things I want to do is really take a look at and see whether or not this is worth the price tag. I think this is 155 MSRP. That is pounds. That is not US dollars or anything else like that. Obviously, that will change from country to country. Being in the UK, we get the the sort of best here. Now, this I know it's a simple thing to fix, but this annoys me. Like, can they not just straighten these out? I suppose you do bend them and things like that as well, don't you? But we've got our range rulers there. Probably never use them because I'll be using a tape measure like a normal person. But they're there at least. We've got our little templates here for different types of attacks that use those sorts of things. So obviously something that I did need. And then we've got a whole bunch of plastic. So these look like they could be the Pegasus Knight, I think. What else have we got in here? So we've got some men-at-arms. I did hear a rumour. So this is 2003. So they've kept the original. I don't know if you can see that in this light. I'll try and search. You can, but it does say Games Workshop 2003, which is a little bit crazy when you think about it, right? Like, these models are 20 years old. And I do wonder, I was over at Murfield Miniatures the other day and I was having a conversation with the owner. We were sort of talking about, do you reckon they've just been sat on the shelves and they just decided that they wanted to get rid of them all? So it all looks like it's 2003. I do believe there is a new model in here, and I think this may be it. Yeah, here we go. So 2023. So I'm going to put that to one side, and you can just tell the difference in the quality of the plastic, which does make me think, like, are these from so long ago? Because there's, in my head, in my non-sculpted, head way, like, why did you not just reprint these in this plastic? Because this plastic is delightful, like really, really hard plastic. Whereas this is a lot softer. It's got that that lighter grey look to it, but it is what it is. These are just loose. These are going to be for the Pegasus Knights, obviously. And then we get a big bag of horses. I mean, this just makes me think they've just had, like, sprues left around Nottingham Games Workshop or wherever it is they are for years and years, and they went, you know what, some suckers will buy them, and you know what, we have in the absolute droves. So we've got all of our men-at-arms here as well. So we've got some, I think we have the peasant bowmen are in here as well. Again, we're not going to go through everything, guys, and again, I'm not that interested right now in the models that are in here. I will be building them up and I will be painting them. Maybe we'll do some on stream. I do love the idea of painting up some Bretonnians. But yeah, again, some older models here. We've got some standards here as well. I mean, they are still, let's be honest, like, I think it's fair to say that for the most part, maybe not right now today, but if you go back 5, 10, 15, 20 years, GW, at least in my opinion, GW was so far ahead of the game when it came to the quality of the minis. Even though these are 20 years old, I think they still hold up because of how good this sort of, that last round of fantasy really was, and how, how well the models were made and things like that. So I think whilst they're, you compare them nowadays to the likes of Mantic, to the likes of AMG, many others that are out there. And I would say that GW are still good. There's an argument to say that GW no longer make the best models, but I think these were so good for their time that it really doesn't matter, and you can't really tell that much. It's not like the Lord of the Rings figures that came out at the same time, where they were all, one piece, two pieces at the most, single sculpt and one arm or something. At least you've got, the sort of ball socket joints on these, so you can change you know, the way that they're holding them. You've got the sort of multi-pose ability about it. So I actually do think they've held up. And I think even though, you know, the vast majority of the models in here are 20 years old, they don't feel like they are 20 years old because GW were just so far ahead of the game at that time. And, you know, either agree with me or not on that one. Oops, not the camera again there. I do apologise. Let's just make sure that we are looking okay. We are. We get a big piece of card. Let's just slid all the way down the back. We get the rule book, and that is dear Lord, that is a big rule book. That is a big, beefy rule book. Let's leave that to one side for the moment. That is huge. Absolutely huge. We get the little things for the knights there as well. And I believe what we're going to get in here is all of the bases and all of the other sorts of stuff. We've got some transfers. It wouldn't be Warhammer Fantasy if we didn't have transfers. Does it say Old World on it? It does say Old World on it. The Kingdom of Bretonnia transfer sheet. Got some instruction guides in here as well. Interesting that they have stuck with the old school instructions. You know, a lot of them have moved to online now. I'm going to be honest, I do prefer this. I really do prefer the physical sheet. Just gives you a better idea. You know, the basic instructions, but that's kind of all you need really. So what have we got then? What is the new character do we think that we haven't had? Oh, I think it's going to be this one, isn't it? Bretonnian Lord on Royal Pegasus. So I think that, or is it going to be? I think it is going to be, right? Surely it is. Maybe there's some options. So you can choose to either have a Duke or a Baron on there, which is quite nice. Gives you some different options. So the Pegasus looks like it's on a different sprue. Maybe the Pegasus is old and it's just the dude that is the army of Duke Gastile, the Red Hand. Okay, this is quite nice that it gives you the full army list in the back here as well. So even though you do get the book, you still do have them. So that is quite nice. So 1,249 points are in this box. So more than good enough to start in a Slurgler League or something like that. I'm hoping that we're going to be doing something at Leodis or somewhere nearby. But I am still waiting. I am going to be playing my Dark Elves in anything that we start. So what do they get for their special rules then? Because each army obviously has special rules now. We've got the Blessed Triptych. We've got the Lance formation. Obviously that's what allows the cavalry to go in this sort of formation here. Peasantry, if a unit with this special rule is within 6 of a friendly model that has the Knight's Vow, the Questing Vow or the Grail Vow, and if that model is not fleeing, this unit can use the model's leadership characteristic. That's very nice. Finest War Horses, and then Blessings of the Lady. So I've already watched a few playthrough videos. Obviously I didn't get an early copy. This is the first time we've ever really covered anything GW. We've done a little bit of battles, MESBG, but not a lot by any stretch of the imagination. And then the bases. So let's have a look at these bases because they have changed in size. So for all you original fantasy players, which I was, but I got rid of mine before this came about, where you rebased everything from your 20mm bases to your round bases, you now have to do it again and go back if you want to play Age of Sigmar. But lots of bases in there for me, which are like absolute rocking horse shit at the moment, trying to get hold of these things. Because obviously everybody's in the same boat, trying to rebase. There's some really nice sort of other options out there as well when it comes to rebasing. So I think these are going to be the standard cavalry ones. I think these are 25 by 50. They are 30 by 60. Yeah, there we go. So they are 30mm by 60mm. And for context, those two there is what the size of the previous cavalry bases was, 25 by 50. So they've increased the base size quite significantly. Get some more things there for things. And then lastly, we've got some dice in here as well. It's going to be really weird for me going back to a D6 game. I haven't played a D6 game in a long time. That's not a bad roll. You know, most games that I play now, you guys know from the channel, like so Shatterpoint, MCP, and even a couple of the other smaller games, they either don't use dice, you know, they're card-based games, or they use custom D8s mostly, but there's no numbers on there, it's all symbols and everything else, so it's going to be interesting getting back into a D6 game, building up those dice pools and rolling for our lives. But yeah, let's move this to one side and let's have a quick look then at this humongous, and I do really mean, guys, absolutely humongous rule book. I don't know if there is anything for the Dark Elves in here, or if they're going to release them separately as a PDF. I believe, and from what I've read and heard, it is going to be separately as a PDF. I haven't checked yet to see if they are available yet as a PDF, but we will wait and see. I've kind of just been buying things randomly, with the view that, you know, Reaper Bolt Throwers, the Crossbowmen Dark Shards, or whatever it is they call now, you know, Cold One Night, that sort of thing, are kind of going to be all there still, or at least I hope. Otherwise, I may end up just painting up these these Bretonnians instead. So what have we got here? Okay, so we've got a little turn summary guide here, which is quite nice. You get your wound chart on there as well. I do like that. I like that because you've got the rule books for the individual characters or the individual factions as well. That you can, you know, just have this as like on the table, really quick, easy glance at it. And then when you want to look into some real specific rules, then you can do so in the main rule book or something like that. So nice little touch, GW. Don't often give you credit, but there you go. And dear me, liars, this is, like I say, an absolute behemoth of a book. Let's zoom in ever so slightly so we can see this a little bit better. So we've got the old world here, and apparently the, you know, the vampire counts and whoever else inward looking, I think, is the verbiage I saw. Verbiage or bullshit? Verbiage I saw them use as to why they don't exist. We're obviously not going to go through every single page of this rulebook. That would be crazy. It doesn't look like there is anything about the different units in here. Oh no, okay. Tomb Kings of... Okay, no. It doesn't look like... Or maybe there is some faction-specific things. Let's go and have a look here. This is going to be a big read, isn't it? I do love that we still get all of the artwork in here as well. Wood Elf Realms. That was my other one that I was thinking about. Was Wood Elves. I like shooty guys. And I know you could go, you could play the Empire, but I don't like men. That sounded really weird, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. So you've got some generic war machines in there. Like I say, guys, there is a huge amount to go through in here. Let's just check the index at the back, if there is an index at the back, and see if we have anything in here for the Dark Elves. No, we do not. So nothing in there for Dark Elves. So don't know which book it will come in, or again, I've heard the rumours that it is coming as a PDF. But that, guys, is everything that you get in the core box. Core box? That's the wrong word for it, isn't it? I'm still in my Shatterpoint and MCP days. So what do we get? We get one Lord of Bretonnia on a Royal Pegasus. So that's going to be the new character, which is nice. And as we know, he can either be a Duke or he can be something else. I can't remember what it was. We get 12 Bretonnian Knights of the Realm. So that are these guys here. 36 men-at-arms, 24 peasant bowmen, and then 3 Bretonnian Pegasus Knights. So I think for £155, I think Baron, there we go, Duke or a Baron. I think this is very, very good value, and would, if I was completely new to the game, I think this would absolutely be my starting point. The problem that I have seen, in fact, let's jump back over and we'll take a look at some of those problems outside of this core box. As I say, I think this core box is really, really good value, or this starter box is really, really good value. But let's jump back over to the other camera and I'll maybe share with you some thoughts and feelings on some of the prices of other things for Warhammer The Old World. Okay, guys, so there we go. That's everything that we get in the core box. And as I say, the guy at GameSave gave me a great deal. I picked up the core box, I picked up the Bretonnia book as well, and I got the movement trays. And I think all in all, plus I picked up a couple of little bits as well, some moulding stuff and some texture, because I'm, going to be putting mud on all the bases and things like that. It came to like £150 for everything, which I thought was a really, really good price. Even though right now I'm not going to be using all of those components, but who knows? If Dark Elves do get left behind, I've then got a second army to be able to fall back onto. So I think again, everything that we get in that box is really, really good value. And we know, it doesn't matter if it's Games Workshop, it doesn't matter if it's Mantic, it doesn't matter if it's Atomic Mass Games, those core boxes are designed to get you into the game. They're at a heavily reduced price, and then, they make more money from future purchases that they make. Now, I want to put this into context because I think it's worth doing that. So I play predominantly AMG games, and those two are, of course, Shatterpoint and Marvel Crisis Protocol. And in both games now, there are boxes where, on average, you are getting 4 models, and those 4 models are costing somewhere between £40 and £50. So let's call it $60 to $70. Depending on what the conversion is at the time. And it includes all the models. Now, it's important to note that they are 40mm models. And I would say that they are of the quality, maybe not quite of the quality as a hero model in Warhammer. But you know what? They probably are. They are of the same quality as a single miniature that would cost you, what, £25 in Warhammer Old World. So again, you get some really good value. Plus, it's got all the cards. Everything you need to play those models are in those packs. And that's kind of my standard. So I'm paying, £50, £60 for 4 models. Sometimes it's a bit more if they're on bigger bases. Sometimes it's a bit less if they're on smaller bases. But on average, £12.50 per model. Which, for brand new models that have all the rules in there, you've got tokens in there as well. Really nice new hard plastic. Feels like it's really, really good value. Or not really good value, it's acceptable. Like, I'll accept it. This is the GW website at the moment. And the first thing I want to talk about, guys, is the fact that they have seriously underestimated what or how many people want to play this game. I think Total War Warhammer has had a huge impact on that. But I think people are nostalgic for a good old rank and file type game. Kings of War is getting very, very popular, so that's proven that it's it's viable. And maybe one of the reasons why GW have come back to it. But again, as they always do, seriously underestimated. How many people were going to want it. But I want to again look at these prices. £23 for a Handmaiden of the Lady, a 28mm model, single model, £23, £23 here. But I think the one that is getting everyone is these Pegasus Knights. £37.50 for three models, that are 20 years old. Now again, these models look nice. They're nice looking models. They don't look like they are 20 years old, but even so, like, they even have 2003 right there on the on the sprue itself. Yes, they're in a fancy new box and whatever else, but yeah, I just am really, really surprised at how expensive they have made this game to play. And as I mentioned, what do you need to actually be able to play it? Well, you need the rule book, which we've just been through the rule book. You then need the forces of whatever it's called here, forces of fantasy. That's going to include rules for, I gather, all the good people. Definition of good is very loose, I think, here. And then, if you want to go, let's just go back here a second. If you want to actually, let's just go back here 1 second. Old World, Tomb Kings of Khemri. Obviously, these are the other releases. If you want to look at the bad guys, you've then got the Ravening Horde. Like, so it's a real problem for me. Are these books have living rules? Sell the stat cards. I think the stat cards are really, really nice. Let's have a look. Yeah, these little reference card packs here are really, really nice. I think they can work really, really well. But just stop making us spend not making us, but dropping the best part of £100 on a bunch of books that we really would prefer to not have to carry around with us. But anyway, there we go, guys. That's going to be the bitching and the moaning over. If you haven't gathered by now, yes, I am going to be covering Old World on the channel. I'm not sure in what capacity we're going to do it yet. And I'm going to be open and honest, I don't know enough about the game yet to be able to cover it in any great level of detail. We'll probably do some how-to play guides. We did those for other gaming systems such as MCP, such as Shatterpoint. We took the entire rulebook and we put it into a video format, broken down into various chapters over various videos. This rulebook's a little bit bigger, so I'm not sure how we're going to do that, but again, we're going to try and create some entry-level, user-friendly content. So if you want to know how to play a basic game, what happens in the shooting phase, what happens in the combat phase, all that kind of stuff, we'll probably be covering those off in videos. But it won't be straight away, guys. I need to get my head around the rule set myself first, and just see how it differs from the fantasy that I used to play. Guys, we're going to leave it there. If you could leave a like, if you could subscribe, if you could do all the usual things, it really, really does help. And as always, it leaves me with just enough time to say stay well, keep safe, and until next time, bye for now.